A smartly made mini EDC toolkit like this can actually solve real problems. But a lot of the ones I see folks put together are either too big to actually be practical, or if they do manage to get them small enough to be convenient every day, they're sort of limited in their utility. But as the large friendly letters on the front of mine say, don't panic. This may only be a 4x6 pouch, but it's packed with enough problem-solving utility that you might not actually need your real toolbox. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, and I'm a knife guy. And this just-in-case kit, packed in a Maxpedition mini pocket organizer, actually started life as a knife maintenance kit that would go to work with me every day in my backpack. But over the course of a few years, I've kind of slowly expanded it into something far more capable, and it's come in clutch a number of times. And that's because I've got about 42 different implements in here that can cover a range of utility, and it only weighs a shade over 2 pounds. Let's start with this rolled up microfiber cloth right here in the middle. Obviously, I can use it as a cleaning cloth to clean things. But as I unroll it, it's got a couple of hidden things going on. The real killer feature here are these 2 magnets that are sandwiched on either side of the microfiber cloth. And this lets me use, when it's spread out, this whole thing as a takedown mat. Not only will this protect the gear I'm working on from getting scratched or scratching up the surface, it also allows me to pop loose screws onto the magnet right there so they don't get lost as I'm working. I've also got this small measuring tape ribbon right here folded up that is rolled inside the cloth there. It's nothing special. It actually came out of a curtain rod install kit at one point, but it sits nice and flat so you don't need a bulky tape measure. And since we're talking about measuring things, I've also got this clear bit of ruler. The brand is Wescot, and I actually cut it down to about 4 inches. We've got metric and imperial, and of course the Protractor. Super handy, although I definitely could have been a little neater in the way I trimmed that up. Next up is one of the true cornerstone items of this kit, and that is the 711L Lollipop Bit Driver. Now, this style of driver with a spinny back end is absolutely great at working on small parts, electronics, knives, that sort of thing. But they've never been a great substitute for a quote-unquote real screwdriver because there's only so much torque you're able to generate with just your fingertips. Now, 711L gets around this by a trick back end. It can actually pop out 90 degrees in either direction, allowing you to generate a heck of a lot of torque, and honestly makes it good enough to kind of stand in as a screwdriver in this kit. Now, the reason I call this a cornerstone item of the kit is there's a ton of extra utility that relies on the Lollipop in this kit. You already saw that Hex End mini ratchet there, also by 711L, which of course gives me ratcheting capability with a reverse switch. I've got multiple bits here, 2 full rails of standard 1/4 inch sized bits, and I also include a small adapter here for 4mm bits, and that allows me to expand my selection of bits there to work on both full size stuff as well as finer electronics. I also keep a pair of drill bits in here. The 1/16 inch is great for drilling pilot holes and stuff, and the 3/16 inch one here makes a hole just big enough to slip paracord through, which is kind of a nod to the knife modding origins of this kit, of course. Now, in order for the Lollipop to be a better screwdriver, I have paired it with another 711L tool, their Ratcheting Inline extension. It's actually quite a robust feeling tool. You've got 2 directions of ratcheting as well as the center lockout point. There's space on here to throw a wrench on it if you need to generate a lot of extra torque, although with the Lollipop slide out there, we're probably in pretty good shape. You could also use it as another extension for the other ratchet there, giving you a greater amount of reach and leverage there. Or of course, you just use it as a standard extension there. It's really clever. You can actually use both single and double-sided bits in here thanks to this magnet system here. And because of the way it works, for a standard sized bit, you can actually pull back on that magnet section, make it a little bit easier to get your bit out. And as I said, it's a really robust feeling system. You can easily drive bolts and screws into hardwood with this combo, but you could actually make it even more compact if you tried. Leatherman actually makes their own ratcheting bit extension right here. And as you can see, it is more compact. It's also less expensive than the 711L as well. Now, if you combine this with yet another 711L product, their Pen Driver TG, which has a spinny end cap and has the ability to take both 4mm bits as well as standard 1/4" bits and rotates 90 degrees for extra torque. You basically get all the same functionality with that as you do with this, but it's not as robust feeling and it's definitely not as comfortable or as ergonomic to use. So I'm going with the bulkier option in this case personally. Next up, the sockets. And I actually didn't think I was going to be able to fit sockets into this kit, but the Klein flip socket set really made it possible. Now I've actually got the 3-piece of the metric and imperial in here. They actually each come on their own shaft like this, but as you can see, I was able to consolidate all but one onto a single shaft, and that saves a ton of space. But add it all up, you've got 12 sockets here. Very tidy, very compact. And as a bonus, it can even act as an even longer bit extension if I need more reach in conjunction with that Lollipop Bit Driver. And the last item that works with the Lollipop, I actually DIY'd a little hex extension right here, cut it down or ground it down from a larger bit, and it is just the right size that I can use any of these flip sockets in conjunction with the Lollipop, giving me ratcheting socket functionality. I love how this Lollipop really allows me to keep things high density but low bulk in this kit. It just unlocks so much. But who's to say there isn't something else? If you know of any cool kind of hex shank gear out there that would complement what I've got going on here, please let me know down in the comments about it. I'd love to check it out. In addition to that, if you kind of like anything you see here and you think you might want to get your hands on one of them yourself, please consider using the affiliate links I've left in the description. They don't cost you any extra, but they will help fund this channel, which means I can make more videos. Another cornerstone tool is the CRKT Collet Pen. On one side of the pen is a pen. It's a pressurized cartridge. But on the other end is sort of the real reason it's in this kit, and that is this collet with a tungsten scribe in it. That's good for marking metals, of course, but because it's a simple collet there, I can actually turn this pen into a handle for more implements. Starting off small, on the opposite end of the scribe, I've actually ground the metal down into a point there as well. Good for poking and scraping holes into softer things where I might not want to risk the fragile tungsten carbide tip. And then buried in the cap, which is actually magnetic, I have got the spring bar fork and poker tools to allow me to do some watch maintenance on the go. These can also be handy, of course, for manipulating all kinds of little small objects. I've got a small half-round needle file here, which I can use freehand or, of course, pop into the collet for a little bit extra reach. And speaking of files, I've also got a small 5 1/4" Nicholson double cut file. Doesn't work in the collet there, but hey, since we're talking about files, figured now was a good time to show it. The coolest thing that the collet unlocks for me though is handsaw capability. This is a modified Sawzall blade. Obviously you're going to need to grind down and modify the shank here at the back so that it will actually fit into the collet, but now you've essentially got a pretty capable handsaw. As you can see, I've got an 18 TPI bimetal blade on here. Where this has honestly seen the most use is just kind of small wood and plastic parts as I'm working on projects. I haven't tackled any like big work with it, but it would certainly do in a pinch. I can also use the spine of this as a straight edge for cutting or marking. It is definitely important though, make sure you round off any pointy bits that might normally be on the blade. to keep you from kind of wearing out the pouch from the inside out. You don't want those sharp bits poking through. And even though I've just got the one kind of reciprocating saw blade here, you could do this with hacksaw blades, jigsaw blades, what have you. You could carry an assortment with you to kind of, tackle whatever you're going to be sawing, so to speak. But yeah, thanks to what the collet unlocks, it's a pretty invaluable piece of the kit. Next up in the front row, I have got the Knipex Mini Pliers wrench right here. Now, I do normally carry a set of pliers on my person every day, so I don't need an extra one in the kit. But if you want to see more of kind of the EDC tools that this kit complements, make sure to click the link down in the description, or I'll try to get one up here in the corner for you to look at as well. Now, I know some folks like to hate on this smallest size of the pliers wrench. To be honest, if I could fit the next size up, I probably would, but space is definitely at a premium. But these let me turn both itty bitty nuts or bolts and quite large ones when needed. But this tool is not just about the gripping and the turning for me. I often use these as basically upgraded tweezers. The smooth jaws on them don't chew things up, and because they're so narrow, they can fit into some really tight spaces. And those narrow tips do give it a bit of an advantage over some alternatives, such as the new Workpro mini pliers wrench, which has wider jaws out there at the tip. So at least in this application, I am going to go with the Knipex. Speaking of tweezers, you already saw me use this to get the spring bar ends out of the collet's cap, but a set of IFIXIT tweezers here for manipulating small parts, especially ones where my slightly larger than average hands would be working against me. All right, let's finish out the front row. This is the Lever Gear or Lever Gear Edge XT, a sort of aluminum and steel multi-tool. It's got a flathead pry guy on one end, Phillips on the other, a retractable X-Acto style craft blade. A small hole in the chassis works when the blade is in the retracted position to act as a bit of a wire stripper. It's also got a bottle opener, which I think officially means it is a multi-tool, even though that doesn't really add anything to this kit most of the time. But the biggest reason I've gone with this unit over other similar types of multi-tools like this is the magnetic 1/4-inch bit socket on the side. And this is actually a pretty essential feature for the knife maintenance roots of this kit, which I do still use it for. That's because some designs out there actually have free spinning hardware where you're going to need a driver from each side at the same time to work on it. And that's why I keep duplicate bits in key sizes on hand here for exactly that purpose. Next, we have the MK Jet Flame Lighter. It sits nice and flat, and as you can see, it is refillable. Of course, it's always good to have an ignition source around, but I use it most often, honestly, for kind of melting the ends of paracord and other synthetic cordage. Next up, the Klein Heritage 102S scissor. Now, these obviously are not going to beat the raw power of a full-size electrician's shear, but you do get pretty good cutting leverage for working through moderately tough stuff. As you can see, the jaws there are slightly curved, so they really do grab onto what they're cutting, combined with the long leverage of those arms, and you've got a pretty impressive amount of power given the compact size. Admittedly, what it's not going to be good at, long slicing cuts, but still. Next to these scissors, I've got a little hunk of rust eraser there. I also keep some binding stuff here on the front row, including 2 small vials here, one of Superglue and one of blue thread locker. But these are essentially sealed capsules or sealed ampules that I don't have to worry about them leaking. And they're small enough that I can basically consider them single use. Whenever I need to use one, pop the top, snip the end with the scissors, use what I need, and I don't have to throw it back in the kit where it has the potential to leak. And then I've got a generous supply back at home base to restock it. Also on the binding front, I've got a whole bunch of little zip ties right here, which of course are quite handy. And I keep them tidy with this length of heat shrink tubing there. And a big shout out to the YouTuber John Gadget for that excellent tip, which I have quickly adopted as soon as he showed that off. And of course, I've got the lighter, which means I can use the heat shrink tubing as heat shrink tubing. Just cut it off and melt it down to shape with the lighter. And I didn't mention it before, but I do have another little piece of that material, which I use to slip over the 1/16 inch bit there for a little extra protection for it. And the last binder, which then gets us into the back, I've got a length of Gorilla Tape just wrapped around an old key card. All right, getting closer to the end here. Got to have some lubricant in the kit, and I've gone with the Sentry Solutions Tough Glide. This actually pulls double duty. It works great as both a lubricant and a cleaning agent too. It's actually one of my favorite things out there for removing tape residue off of a blade when it gets all gunky. And of course, you've got a precision applicator tip as well to get it into some real fine places. The last thing on that side, I've got this telescoping magnetic pickup. Extends to about 2 feet. Great for getting things that have fallen into some tight crevices. Now, this is just a cheap one that I picked up online. And it's fine, but if anyone knows of a higher quality one that can stay this slim without, like a big bulky magnet on the end, do let me know down in the comments. Now, I saved the bulkiest item for last, and that is my sharpening system. This is still a knife maintenance kit at heart, and by far, I like to sharpen my knives with a combination of a rigid strop, which you see here, and wet dry sandpaper. And because that is such a strong preference for me, I'm willing to devote such a large amount of space to this in my kit. If you're kind of curious as to how you sharpen a knife with some leather and sandpaper, make sure to check out another one of the linked videos down below, and I can take you through that process. But on my homemade strop here, I've got a bit of leather with the rough side out and black abrasive compound on one side, and the smooth side of leather on the other with a green polishing compound. Then I keep both 320 grit and 800 grit sandpaper on hand. When you need to use those, you just wrap it around the strop and use that binder clip to keep things nice and in place. Now, I don't always need to use the most aggressive grit or any grit at all, depending on the level of edge maintenance I'm doing. But between the 320, the 800 grit, and the 2 levels of compound, I've got what I need to take something from having no edge at all to hair splitting sharp. Now, in the spirit of trying to at least show an option here that is more compact, you could do a lot worse than this unit from Worksharp. But when you unfold it, you've got both diamond abrasive and a ceramic hone built in. I'm actually contemplating taking this, adding a strip of leather to it to kind of maintain the stropping capability, and that would actually open up some extra space in the kit. But I'm not quite sure what else I would fill it up with at this point. It feels pretty complete, but if you guys have any suggestions of things that you think I'm missing that might be able to be added here, do let me know down in the comments, because who's to say it is complete? This thing has been building over the course of a few years, so there's probably still a little bit more room to evolve even now. So that's everything in this very densely packed kit. 4x6 pouch, just over 2 pounds, and a ton of utility. Will it replace a full-size real toolkit? Honestly, if your job involves using your tools all day, every day, probably not. You're going to want things with true full-size capability and things that are easier to access. Things are pretty kind of tightly wedged into this pouch. But for this just-in-case kit, it really does come in handy and can do real work when the situation calls for it. Now, the cost of this, I don't even want to know. It is definitely expensive if you want to replicate all of this. But the beauty of it is this is something that can kind of grow and evolve over time, picking up a piece here, a piece there as you need things. And this could still evolve for me too. Like I said, if you have any suggestions, any kind of empty spots in here, you think I'm missing something, drop it in the comments below. And let me know if you're thinking about kind of building your own kit at this point, or if you see anything here that would make a good addition to yours. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, but let me know whether you think this kit is truly worth it or not. Whether you think the EDC mini tool pouch craze is worth it or not. In addition, if you liked this video, I really would appreciate if you liked the video and subscribed to the channel. It really helps things out. But that's all I got for now. See you next time.